After 1 month of scrutinizing the details of the budget presented by President Bola Tinubu in November, the National Assembly at a special plenary on Saturday passed the finance document, increasing the size of it from 27.5 trillion naira as proposed by President Tinubu to 28.7 trillion naira. The additions came largely from increase in the budget of the judiciary. The Ministry of Works also received additional 200 billion naira and an extra 100 billion naira was added to President Tinubu's school feeding program.
Along the line, while the budget, the consultation was going on, there are some of the findings, at some of our findings, a lot of agencies claim that they have been underfunded and they have a lot of programs to do which needs funds. And with their envelope that have been given to them, it becomes difficult for them to get anything done. And after this savings that was realized, it was sent to the executive to see what they need. And some of the first respondents, including the judiciary, who is asking for 171 billion additional funds, which was graciously approved by the executive and were given. Other agencies like Works was given about 200 billion, and Power agreed, Water Resources and housing and this were not left out in the distribution of this fund. And also the school feeding program, which the president is very passionate about.
The increase didn't come from National Assembly. It's come from exigencies of the executive. Not that National Assembly increasing anything. We don't have business with budget. And mind you, we cannot write budget for ourselves. So it's the budget presented by the executive. For instance, judiciary wants an increase to build more courts. Will you say you don't want to accommodate them? This is just what is happening.
As you know that we had an inflation and exchange rate for the dollar. The executive proposed 750 naira to the US dollars. But after we study carefully, we look at it like unrealistic. And because at the black market it's like 1,200, even official it's like 900. So we increased from 750 to 800. And also we had a meeting with the GOEs. We believe that their submission is not enough, so that they have agreed to increase their revenues to 700 billion. So when we increase that, we are able to get that to 1.2 trillion, which we applied in capital. For the oil benchmark, I don't think we had any changes for that, and it's not true. We didn't change any, But all I can tell you that this is the first time in the budget the capital is higher than recurrent. It's the first time. It's the first time actually. This is show you, Mr. President, and Nigerian will see massive projects in 2024.
In preparing the details of the budget, the National Assembly adopted a revised medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper (FSP) and settled for a benchmark price of crude oil at $77.96, slightly higher from $77.56 proposed by the executive. The National Assembly left the daily crude at 1.7 million barrels. The lawmakers, however, adjusted the budget exchange rate to 800 naira to $1 high from 750 naira. The National Assembly also left the GDP growth rate at 3.88%, with inflation pegged at 24.1%. A closer look at the budget, however, revealed a budget deficit of 9.18 trillion naira, with recurrent expenditure standing at 8.76 trillion and capital spending at 9.995 trillion naira.
The National Assembly deemed it very fit that those areas had to be given very, very concerned and very serious and pertinent priorities. So because of that, the component, that capital component, had been upped to 9.9 trillion instead of 8.7 trillion. That's an increase of about 1.2 trillion. So that is the major, very significant area where the National Assembly had to, due to the yearnings of Nigerians, due to the user cries that, look, our infrastructure is actually very debilitating, that it is in the ICU, in the intensive care unit, and it needs oxygen, And then in order to infuse that oxygen into it, we have to increase the appropriation to that sector. And so that is the only very difference that we can see in the appropriation as presented by the executive arm.
One fantastic thing they did was to adjust the exchange rate with realities that is on the ground from 750 to 800, which now gave us more funds. And those funds were committed to the new project that the president sent in to be able to take care of challenges that need to be dealt with. But the beautiful thing about this, for the first time, we didn't have any back and forth with the budget process in terms of, much visible changes. We worked in line with the vision of the executive because we strongly believe that the president have the best intention in solving critical national problems. And that was why I didn't see much of changes or environment or movements of some of the project that was expected. And that is why you're going to see the president is going to sign it very fast because it's almost 80% of what he projected to the parliament.
A substantial amount, put roughly at 7 trillion naira, is expected to be borrowed to finance the budget. This was as the National Assembly approved the borrowing of $7.4 billion for 2022 to 2024 external borrowing. It also approved another 100 million euro to be sourced from the World Bank, the African Development Bank, and the Islamic Development Bank. All of these was as the National Assembly tightens loopholes on revenue generation and calling for a probe of all waivers since 2015. The president is expected to sign the budget into law in the next 2 days to meet a January to December budget cycle. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.